Kung Fu Panda is a film that touched a lot of people with how good it was. I remember begging my mom for me to see this film in theaters when it first came out, even if I had to sit on the floor. And I didn't know this at the time, but Kung Fu Panda would become one of my favorite, if not my favorite, film for how heartbreaking and honest it was. And the films after it stayed true to those sentiments. Which is why I'm excited, but also a little bit worried that the next installment may not hold up to its previous predecessor. Trilogies, if done well, tend to dip after a few sequels. And a perfect example of this is the Star Wars franchise. Beloved by many until the community was divided from the release of the prequels and the sequels to the sequels. To this day, the fandom is still in debate about those films, which can be a sign of a good thing for the franchise's longevity, since people will go back to those films and or discover them and continue to analyze its impact on pop culture. I feel Kung Fu Panda has a lot of that. It has garnered the same attention, and that's not necessarily a compliment as it is a comparison to the dangers of overproducing such a beloved franchise. While a lot of fans are excited, a lot are also skeptical due to the fact that Kung Fu Panda hasn't managed to successfully conclude its hero's journey. And now that we've reached the end, where do we go from here? Or how do we tell the next story proper? Well, if the creators are sticking with their original plan, it would make sense that the first 3 films focused on Po as a student, and the next hopefully 3 films will focus on him as a master. Now, if the master plan isn't the road that Dreamworks is intending to take, there is one character whose story left a lot of fans wanting to know more about them. There's someone very special who's left a mark in a lot of people's hearts, who's been a very prominent figure in all 3 films as she has been in Po's journey. And that person is Tigress, who is the epitome of Kung Fu in these films. Someone who has dedicated their entire life to the art and has literally admitted in this TV series that they would rather die than stop doing Kung Fu. And you feel for her because of what we do find out about her is that Kung Fu, besides her father figure, is what ultimately saves her from a life of loneliness and hatred. It taught her the patience and control she needed to overcome the anger that she felt from being abandoned by her parents, who we don't even know, still don't know to this day, and the other children in the orphanage, all because they thought that her appearance and the strength that she exuded was scary. And even though she succeeds in overcoming her fear and her anger, and she goes home with her master at the end, that all happened when she was just a cub. As a part of growing up, we make mistakes and we learn from them. And that happiness didn't last for Tigress. And we see this in the first film in a flashback where she's trying to make Shifu proud. But because of his mistakes and his fears, he's too afraid to get attached to her, afraid of pushing her too far like his previous student. What if she ended up the same way as him? I feel that there's so much of Tigress that we do know, but there's so much more about her that we don't know about. I think a film about the Furious Five, even if Tigress was the central focus, would be enough to satisfy the people who love this franchise. Not only do we get to see them as a group before Po, but we also get to see them put their own differences aside in order to work together. And I feel as an Asian, I would love to hear more of Viper and Monkey, because not hearing enough of Jackie Chan and Lucy Liu's voices was one of the things that really made me sad. They're very prominent actors in my generation. I love Lucy Liu in Kill Bill. Not hearing her enough made me sad in some parts. And I feel if there was a Furious 5 film, the entire cast would get enough lines in. Or at least it would be so much fun to hear them bicker, because the Furious 5 totally does that. They're total children at heart, and it saddens me that we don't get to explore a lot of these in the films. We do a little bit, but then you kind of want more film about them specifically, would be a nice ribbon to wrap everything up in the Kung Fu Panda franchise. And I feel Tigress' story, as much as it would have dark moments and tragic moments, happy moments and heartfelt moments, I feel it would have a lot of hope. And that's all we really need is hope. So let's hope that Kung Fu Panda 4 will blow us away, just like all the other films before it. My name is Salem. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.